Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Alas game number 2 between TvZ Polt and Acer Bly. This is from the MSI Pro Cup number 12, which is hosted by Millennium and, of course, sponsored by MSI. We have Polt here from South Korea on Team SCV Life as the red Terran at the bottom right of Ohana, with Acer Bly as the orange Zerg at the top left. This Ukrainian player is, I guess, more notable for his performances in weekly tournaments than actual major events, but he has shown some skill. His fellow Zerg member of Acer, Nurchio, really rose to fame after winning a lot of weekly events. So did Stefano. A lot of these Europeans like to start with their weekly events and then build into major successes at LANs. So in game number 1, Polt took it in dominating fashion by just keeping his opponent contained and consistently denying bases. I casted this game at least a week ago by now, so it is a little bit dry in my mind. Please check that out if you have not watched this one already. May have ruined it for you by now, but anyways. Bly is sending his Overlord across the map, and Polt just going for traditional wall-off, so he's not going to go for some crazy one-racks expand. Well, that actually is still viable. He can just go for the really conservative yet traditional wall-in to ensure no cheese can get by him, and then go for that expo if he decides to. It does seem as though his rally point is set near the ramp, so that could indicate he is going to actually expand off of this. There's no gas on the way either, so it does not seem he is going to be too intent on getting a Tech Lab reactor right away, rather than focusing on a fast CC. It seems as though he's bagging up minerals as well. We may see a very, very early 15 command center from Polt. Meanwhile, Bly just going for that, I believe, 15 hatch, 14 pool. And I did not check his exact timing, so let's see what's going on now. No, actually just saved up for the orbital, but Polt still has a lot of money banked up. He's not going to make any add-ons or gas, so I think he's going to go for the CC at 400 minerals. He is moving that SCV down, so that's actually a fairly risky play. Building it in your base, and sorry, not in your base, building it outside of your base with very little in terms of defense. Bly, how much is he going to see here? He does only see the Marine, but I guess he can kind of tell, thanks to this positioning, that there is some sort of an expand. He's going to try to skirt it around here and see what he can catch on to. He does not want to lose the Silver Ward, though. That would set him back so far. I've played a number of TvZs in my time, and the one pain is when you lose the Overlord Scout. It often comes very, very close. Polt definitely going greedy with this build. He can, if Bly decides to opt for an early roach opening and just hit hard at a nice timing, this could not end well for Bly. He's only going to be able to get a bunker up in a little bit. He has nothing in terms of tech, but if he's able to secure down the expansion, keep it for a couple minutes, get it nice and saturated, that will put him miles ahead of his Zerg opponent. Generally, some Zergs tend to open up with 2 bases into early pressure and then grab that third. Others like to go straight for the early third. We see Stefano do that a lot. So I think it's going to be critical that Bly does go for the fast third. He has seen this expansion over here and is now... I had just heard the queen noise. I don't know if you guys said he now got his queen at his natural, making 2 more now. He does favor creep sped. It was quite impressive in the last game, if I do recall correctly. So we do now have a factory and a reactor on his racks for Polt. Definitely going to see some reactors, aliens. I believe he did opt for that in the last game, and it went so-so. He wasn't able to do too much. Bly was able to get a few favorable surrounds, and Jack just finishing there. On the topic of lands I've watched recently, the finals of the IPL Team Arena Challenge 3, check that out if you have not already. Great finals. I don't want to ruin it for you. Please check it out. I'm going to ruin it in 3, 2, 1. Incredible Miracle took it over Team Liquid. Great 2 series. Liquid came from the losers bracket, so they had to play 2 best of 5 and win both of them. They were able to take the first one because TvZ was just on fire, and there was this epic game in the second set of TVP between Seed and TvZ that was just incredible. Seed was able to beat him and then finally close it out for IM. Please look at that if you have the time for it. We do now have an excess of creep trimmers, now 2 more gases for Bly, but he's getting all of his extractors and yet not mining from them quite yet, just instead favoring not even that many, only 2 Zerglings and not even speed yet, so he's just going for very heavy minerals. Probably going to drop down a Roach Warren or even go straight into Lair once he gets enough gas. Actually, he'll go double Evo Chamber with the Lair, so definitely tech from Bly. He probably did see that expansion from Polt and figured it would be worth it to just kind of sit back and build up his force with upgrades and all. He is going to actually be faced up with 2 Starport Banshees. That's a very aggressive opening from Polt. Going with the 1-1-1, not actually switching up these 2 buildings here, so he did not get Reactor Hellions as I predicted. Instead, just going to opt these 2 what am I saying? 2 Starport Banshees, no Cloak researching, so he does not want to drop a lot into this investment. How much is Bly see? Nothing in the main. His overlord position is so-so, but he could definitely get some better lane scouting. Only now beginning his metabolic boost, but also getting weapons level, melee attacks level 1, and he will have the Lair. He is also dropping down 2 Spore Crawlers. Is that instinctive? He might have seen these Banshees coming in the very edge of his Zelnaga vision. It would have had to have been pretty bad luck. Well, Polt would have had to have had pretty bad luck to be caught just at the edge by the Zelnaga vision with those Banshees. He's facing up against 4 Queens here. The more he kills, the merrier. These 4 Queens will be able to kill the Banshees. But how many Spore Crawlers has Bly gotten? He's gotten a total of 4, I believe. Well placed. Actually, 3 with a 4th on the way. So these Banshees going to be denied. Even an Overseer on the way there from Bly. He's not taking any risks. There is going to be Carapace level 1 though, so I'm thinking Bly has the advantage here. He's forced Polt to really lose a lot of money on these Banshees. Unless Polt is able to grab his opponent's 3rd, destroy his opponent's 3rd, I think he will not be in a very favorable position. Not sure why he's moving just 1 Queen out unguarded. It could be vulnerable, not anymore though, as others regroup. Meanwhile, back over at Polt's base, we just have 1-1 on the way, with a Spire coming from Bly. Either he's overreacting to these Banshees, or he was planning on going for a Muta kind of play. Mutaling Infester, a little bit of a less favored composition, but it could work out if Fungals are able to land well. Then Mutas can just clean up what Lings surround. It's quite a scene watching the Swarm in action. We do now have these 3 Banshees, so Polt has not totally overinvested. If we look at the units lost, though, it's not really, there's nothing special to write home about. Only 2 workers killed for Polt, so I definitely have to say he's behind thanks to that. He's now producing medevacs off these tech labs. He should at least get to Caduceus Reactor just to justify getting those 2 starports and tech labs. I actually almost never see that upgrade, even though it could be quite useful. Maybe it'll eventually make its way into the StarCraft 2 TvZ metagame. Now there's an Overlord dropping creep here at the 3rd location of Polt. He's just made a totally epic supply depot wall. Not sure if that stand up very well to Banelings, but he has scouted thoroughly. Has he seen the Spire, though? That is a critical structure when you are playing a Zerg. I don't think he has. No, just at the very edge. Has not seen the Infestation Pit either, so he's a little bit in the dark, but he's about equal in terms of upgrades. Bly is a little bit ahead with his melee weapons level 2. Carapace level 2 now starting, and his flyer attacks level 1. So Polt only now going to get his 1-1, but we'll see what he can do. Does he have an armory is my question. I do not believe he does. He has 2 command centers on the way, though, now getting a missile turret. And is Bly going to go for Mutas, or will he just go straight to Broodlord tech? That would be a very risky play, leaving him kind of vulnerable for a few minutes while he techs up. But if he could pull it off, it would just be devastating for Bly. Trying to attack the supply depot wall here and just deny this 3rd from landing, which would be pretty critical. I just whistled there, Jesus. Bly does now see the 4th CC, though, so he understands his opponent's going for a very it's economically aggressive. He's trying to secure so many bases because he knows he's behind from that Banshee investment. He does now have a reactor on his starport, tech lab on his factory, so he's opting more for siege tank tech. I'm just gonna close that window for a minute or two, as so many upgrades here coming from Polt. He's got his 2-2 weapons level 1 on his tanks, so finally starting to get on even ground with the Zerg player. He's just a little bit behind. Bly gets a very nice fungal on this group of Marines. The other one's following shortly after. And look at that. Well done from Bly. He's able to just clean up so many Marines. completely changing the resources lost tab. One siege tank sieging up now, but it will shortly be overrun by these Lings. Very well done. Bly is putting on a lot of pressure here. He might just be able to end the game outright. No need to get that Greater Spire and Banewing Nest as he's doing actively. He's just running in here and hitting Polt at a very, very bad time. His opponent just dropped 2 CCs, has not been able to get the mining. These Lings just going wild. And 18 more now on the way. Only 9 Marines from Polt. And as we saw, this Infestor hit squad, not necessarily on par with the 4 Brofester hit squad, but the 6 Brofester, I'm not going to give them a nickname just yet. They have done some damage, though. The siege tank here just trapped on the ramp. These Lings will likely be cleaned up, but Polt's losses say a lot about how far behind he is in this game. How many Harvesters are we at right now? 64 to 26. A lot of Harvesters killed from there. 43 in total workers killed from Bly. And now he does have 10 Corruptors on the way, so even if Polt manages to somehow survive for a minute or two, Bly's going to have 10 GG wards, as they're called. He's also getting his 3-3 with Adrenal Glands, that Ling attack speed upgrade, his Centrifugal Hooks for his Banelings, and Missile Attacks level 1. He might have cancelled that, actually. It was on the way before. I guess he cancelled and waited for it, because I did see that in the Upgrades tab. Looking very, very good, though, for Bly. He was just able to run in at a perfect timing. A lot of kills on these Infestors, if you can see here. And Bly just had Polt had no way of dealing with it, and now he's very, very far behind. These Brood Wards are probably going to bring the GG from Polt with just a final decisive attack. Polt might even just see the Corruptors and then decide to leave the game from there. And these loaded medevacs going to get hit here by the Corruptors. They're all fungal now, so Marines are going to die, and those that drop out just drop into a swarm of Lings. And there comes the GG from Polt. That evens our series at 1-1. Wow, that was very well played from Bly. He hit it at perfect timing, whether intentional or unintentional, just caught Polt off guard. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed that game as much as I did. It was a good refreshment to be back after a little while. I'll see you all fairly soon. Hope you enjoy.